you told us it's hard for you to take time off. You took very little time off during the season. Spags just told me that in that downtime when the season ended, you probably texted him 10 times, "Is there anything I should be doing? Anything I should be doing?" I guess that speaks to commitment. You've always had that when it comes to athletics?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's kind of been, I guess, ingrained in me since I was young. I think, my mom and dad always kind of told me one thing: failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And really that there's always somebody out there trying to work to, take your job. And I think that's something that even in high school I kind of grasped onto. I knew that as a sophomore in high school I wanted to start, and I wanted to keep that position. And as I went to Ohio State, it was the same thing, and it's the same thing here. It's nothing's ever good enough. I'm a perfectionist. I get that from my parents, and so I'm constantly trying to figure out what can we do here to make this thing better and to get it rolling.
Spags just talked about how much of the comfort level he gets from having you here a full year in the offseason. This is your second year in the defense. You're the guy who's the captain on the field. You're getting guys lined up. You're on the field every play. Can you tell me how much more comfortable you are right now than you were? Even going back to November, December of last year.
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, you're able to call things out and just know that you're right instead of second guessing yourself. Last year you're making calls, but you're kind of still wondering, gosh, it's the right call, and then you play it out, and it's kind of like you need that affirmation that you made the right check and everything. Now it's just second nature. A lot of things are coming faster, able to recognize routes a lot faster, recognize running schemes, and focus a lot more on the little details. And it gets exciting for me because then you're able to, fine-tune your game a little bit when you know kind of the broad scheme of things.
A few weeks ago, Chris Long was telling me he's absolutely convinced this defense will work. It's obviously worked in New York with the Giants. He says it's very complicated. You guys are in your second year of this defense. Why are you excited about the defense? Why do you think it's going to work?
Well, I think we definitely have the players. First and foremost, you need players, and I think we have those guys. I think also, when you have guys that have been around each other, like you said, another year in this thing, and you're used to the calls now, and you're able to make great communication. This defense is all based on communication. If the guys are talking and we're all on the same page, we can play well. Things broke down last year when someone made a call, but not everyone got to it. You know what I mean? And sometimes in a game, there's going to be instances where it's too loud, where you can't hear somebody. Everyone just has to know what we're going to. And another year in that whole thing, we're getting on that page. You can kind of see it in football blocks earlier on, a couple weeks ago, and especially being out here, you're starting to see that more.
It's the difference between thinking and just reacting, right?
Definitely. When you're thinking, you're always behind. Coaching college, my linebacker coach Luke Fickley used to say, every time you think, you set this program backwards. So it's not about thinking; it's just going out there and playing.
They have wasted no time in putting Niall and Bobby outside you with the first unit defense. So right now it's an all Buckeye starting lineup. Beyond that, how well do you know these guys, and is the process underway?
Well, I played with I played with Bobby. I was his backup actually when I was a freshman. He was a senior. I was a backup Sam linebacker to him. Very hard worker, a guy who's really athletic, quick, very smart. He likes to know details of things. And I was joking with Niall. Niall was a Coach Cooper guy. I think he was getting out of Ohio State before I was even entering high school. So, but he's a great guy. Talk about a guy who just knows what he's doing, a veteran, very smart guy. And then you have Larry Grant's another guy that I played with 2 years at Ohio State. He's competing for a Will or a Sam. So, we got a lot of guys competing. And obviously Bora and those guys, Chambo, those guys have been here, and it's kind of cool to play with those Buckeyes. But we all know we're competing for jobs, and it's just cool to represent that Ohio State pride a little bit, or the Ohio State pride in the locker room.
They talk about Penn State being linebacker. Maybe it ought to be Ohio State.
Yeah, well, we're 4-1 right now in the linebacker room. We give Josh a little crap.
Not that he's heard anything about it.
No, he's heard plenty of it. And, we kind of give him crap about that little Nittany Lion roar that they do at their stadium every time they get a first down. But it's all fun and games. And when you're in the locker room and you got 4 guys from the same school, you can bully up on the other guy.
All right, so you're in mid-May. You're getting closer to training. Give me the vibe. Give me the sense of 1-15 disappointment. Nobody shied away from that here. But give me the vibe in the locker room. And what's it feel like right now?
Like I said, it's a lot of optimism. It's a lot of just excitement to get out there. I think the one thing about this team is that, and it comes from the top down, what Spags did a great job of last year. Week to week, you kind of had a sense that we had forgotten about the previous week and we were moving forward. It was all about what laid ahead of us and being optimistic about what lies ahead of us. And when you have the football stuff starting to come together faster, and we have a lot of guys, not only the talent that came in, but also guys that were here all summer or all spring, and they're trying to work out and everything, and they're making themselves better by maybe maybe 5–10%. That's a huge increase, and we felt like we were a better than 1-win team last year. We had some games that we'd like getting away with us. So again, as part of that, demand, compete, finish that Spags is talking about, we got to finish those games and come up with some W's.
Final question. I mean, it's become a game of specialists, but you're a guy that stays in the field for 3 downs. You don't come off. They'd probably have to pull you off by your shoulder pads, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
3rd down.
Yeah. I'm not coming off the field. I don't want it. That's one thing that I try to pride myself on since I was in high school. You look at linebackers, and then the great ones were always out there for 3 downs. It seemed like, and one less down on the field is one less opportunity to make a play. And I feel like if I'm gonna be a leader of this defense and be a linebacker, a true one, got to be out there for all 3 downs.